Welcome to The Beautiful Bag. This is your host, LeeAnne Hayden, cancer survivor, and more importantly, ostomy lifer. Each and every week, I'm going to be bringing a special guest or some inspiration for you and a few little stories along the way so that you can learn what life is like for us to be living in an ostomy and why we all think it's a beautiful bag. So listen in and let's get started. These testimonials are representative of my or our experiences, but the exact results and experience will be unique and individual to each person. The information provided herein is not medical advice and is not intended to substitute for the advice of your personal physician or other healthcare providers. Well, hello, everybody, and welcome to this week's The Beautiful Bag podcast. I am your host, LeeAnne Hayden, and this week, let's talk about the stomach bug and how we deal with it when we're in an ostomy. I know some of you may know a few weeks ago when I had gotten back from my trip, I came down with we call it the travel bug, right? You can't help but get something when you're on a plane for that long sometimes. So I came down with the travel bug and I got home, and it was a few days after I was home, and guys, I was in bed. I was in bed for a few days. It hit me hard. And, it was one of those where I went to bed early one night. I woke up in the middle of the night. I'm like, oh no, this doesn't seem good. And I ran to the bathroom and everything that I had had for dinner came up. And I know, I'm going to get into a little more detail than things, but you guys can handle it because we handle this stuff a lot. So all night long, everything for dinner, and it kept coming up. I couldn't even, the next day I just slept all day long, and I kept sipping on water very slowly because someone said, how do we deal with it when we're in an ostomy? Hydration is typically a little more difficult, right? Because of we have less of our colons, and our colons function a little bit different. And if you haven't listened to the episode that I did with Dr. Ivaturi, you want to go back and listen to that episode because he talks a lot about hydration in that episode and how things we can do to keep our bodies hydrated better, to be able to absorb more water. But so I did take some of those points, and I'm going to talk about a little bit of it during this episode. But so I'm in bed all day the next day, and I'm sipping on water, and guys, I couldn't even hardly keep water down. And I know that if it had lasted any longer, I probably would have had to go to the hospital and get an IV just to get my hydration in. And sometimes that happens. Sometimes we have to do that. However, my stomach settled, and it was fine. My stomach settled. I figured it was a 24-hour bug. After 24 hours, I felt pretty good. And then, did I feel pretty good, right? And that was a fool. I ended up having changed my bag over the next 24 hours. So this bug stayed with me for like 4 days. In another 24 hours, I changed my bag like 6 times. It was bad. My bag kept filling up. And I have a colostomy. So I have a colostomy bag, not an ileostomy bag. So those of you with an ileostomy bag, you probably have this happen to you, right? Your stool is liquid where mine's more solid. So I'm not used to this. So my bag fills up. I have to change it 6 times. And it's all liquid. And I said, I have to get this to stop. So I was holding down water, I was eating, and I would eat and it would go right through me. So what did I do to get hydrated? So there was a few things that I did to help. One, I went and I started to eat bananas. I got a bunch of bananas and I started to eat bananas with drinking my water, because what that does, and Dr. Ivaturi talks about it, is the bananas help slow down the water traveling through your body. And so it helps slow down the water traveling through your body, and it thickens it so that your body can slow down and actually absorb any water. So I started to eat the bananas. So that started to help settle things down. And then my son was stopping by, so I had him bring me some KO peptate. And once I started taking the KO peptate, the diarrhea stopped. So that helped tremendously. And then from there, that's when I started saying, okay, I need to start getting my body rehydrated, right? Because it had had a few days of just not having enough fluids in it. So I started drinking my water, but then I started adding things to my water like electrolytes. I was doing that throughout. So I was adding electrolytes to my water so that way I can absorb it better, right? So our body loses electrolytes when we're dehydrated. So I started to add those back in. I don't do Gatorade. I use some powdered electrolytes. I started doing that. I also use some powdered vitamins and minerals. Um, this vitamin mineral pack. So I started to make sure I got my vitamins and my minerals in, and really just started flooding my body with the good nutrition that I truly really enjoy once everything had settled down. But everybody's like, "How did you deal with it?" And I'll tell you, I understand people with ileostomies a lot better now, and your nervousness and the nervousness around leaking, because I had that thought in my head because like I said, my stool's typically soft. So when I was in bed sleeping and I could hear it just running out of me, I'm like, oh my gosh, what if I roll over a certain way and the bag pops? All those thoughts that we go through. Luckily, none of it happened. I did not suffer from any leakages when I was sleeping, and I did feel it because it kept waking me up because I would roll over, and I'm a stomach sleeper, so I would roll on my stomach and I would feel the bag. I would say, okay, tired or not, get up and change the bag or get up and empty the bag. Um, just to make sure that it was that it wasn't too full and that it wouldn't leak. So I paid a little extra attention over those few days that I had the diarrhea. Now, like I said, some people have sent me messages like, how did you mentally handle it? And um, because again, it's something new, and this is the first stomach bug. I mean, I've been in my bag for 6.5 years, and this is actually the very first stomach bug I ever got, knock on wood. And so it was an experience for me. And so how I mentally handled it was, well, this is the first time I've ever gone through this, right? So if something happens, like my bag leaks, what's going to happen? I'm going to get up, I'm going to change it, I'm going to shower, and probably change the sheets if it ends up getting on the sheets. That's how I'm going to handle it. And then I started doing things like just resting and relaxing. And when I felt the nervousness coming up, I would take some deep breaths. And deep breathing really calms your nervous system. And when you can calm your nervous system, you can calm your body down. And when you calm your body down, it can heal better. So I would just take some deep breaths in and some deep breaths out, right? Just slow, deep breaths just to calm my nervous system. And then I'd be like, okay, why am I nervous about this? Like, again, what happens if my bag pops or if I leak? How am I going to handle it? And like I said, you just handle it, but you got to calm the nervous system down. You got to calm the anxiety down and the thoughts down, right? And the best way to do that is to meditate or to just sit back, close your eyes, and take about 10 really nice deep breaths in and out, and you will feel a ton better. So those are some of the things. So those are some of the things that I did. Now I know this is a short version of an episode, but I know that some of you were asking me, what did you do, during the time when you were sick, and how did you handle your stomach bug? And guys, that's basically all I did. I didn't exercise. I didn't do anything. I let my body heal. The KO peptate helped ton a ton. The bananas helped a ton, and adding electrolytes into my water and also some vitamin C into my water really helped as well with the absorption of just feeling better over the next few days. And then I took it easy after I was feeling better. I took it easy, and I didn't go right back into the gym and throw weights around. I said my body's still healing. So I just added walks in. So I started adding my walks back into my day, and some yoga and stretching and meditation back into my day. And, within a few days, I felt great. And I was like, okay, my body's back to normal, and I'm going to just get back to life as normal. So that is what I did through having the stomach bug. I would love to hear, because I know a lot of you probably have had the stomach bug. And I'd love to hear some of the tips and tricks and some of the things that you did when you were sick and how you mentally prepared yourself. So reach out to me out on social media. Best place is Instagram, or you can go to my website, leeannehayden.com, and send me a message through the website as well. And I would love to hear some of the things that you did. And if you want to be on the podcast and share some of the tips and tricks of some things that you go through on a daily basis, would love to have you here on the show. So that's all for now for this week. And we will chat again really, really soon.
Thank you so much for joining us this week. If you enjoyed this podcast, get the behind the scenes at leeannehayden.com/ostomy updates. And also, if you found this episode encouraging, please screenshot it and share it on Instagram. And don't forget to tag me and also the person who was on the episode with me. I occasionally will do special gifts for anyone who does do a screenshot and share it on Instagram or in your stories. Also, lastly, please go to Apple or Google, rate, review, and subscribe to this podcast to keep up with them every single week. I enjoy you guys. Thank you so much for being here.